Jennifer Rose Goldman graduated from Skidmore College with a joint degree in religion and philosophy. She founded and served as CEO of Essential Rose, an aromatherapy beauty brand that she started in her college dorm room. Wow. Essential Rose packaged and sold teas and skincare products for inner rather than outer beauty. Jennifer is a motivational speaker on wellness and self-care. She put her content into a 6-week course called Lead Your Life. I love that title. Jennifer recently had her article titled 5 Effective Strategies for Mental Well-Being published in Authority magazine, which has over 30 million readers. Thank you, Jennifer, so much for joining me here today.
Course,
Would,
it's an honor to be here with you.
would you please share with us the circumstances that led you to write this article?
Okay. I had a stroke in 2021 in my left frontal lobe, and that was really devastating for my whole life. At the time, I had been in perfect. I could not. I never would have seen this coming for me. I was in perfect health. I was very spiritual. I did all the right things I thought, and it came completely out of the blue.
Wow,
Yeah,
that, that must have been very shocking.
it was, and it was shocking for my whole family.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm going to quote you here, and I quote, I am fascinated with the esoteric, things that I may not be able to see, but I can feel. Esoteric, I had to look up the word. I wasn't sure what it meant.
It's an esoteric word.
Esoteric means very unusual and understood or liked by only a small number of people, especially those with special knowledge.
Yeah.
So tell me what esoteric means to you.
It means like unseen. The unseen world is very esoteric.
Hmm.
Consciousness is esoteric. Consciousness and spiritual practice to like heighten your consciousness are all esoteric practices.
So you named several practices that help you reduce stress, and I also assume access more esoteric knowledge.
Consciousness,
What are those practices?
affirmations. I recite affirmations as often as I can, and that really helps me in my process of recovery.
Mhm.
Um, visualizations. Visualization, when you put a picture in your mind, it
Yes,
makes it more likely that you can actually achieve that thing. It makes it real. Um, I also was really into aromatherapy. I've been using essential oils for
mhm.
like a while, years now, and that really has helped me. And like I've really reconnected with the essential oils.
I have recently become a fan of essential oils.
Me too. Not recently for me, but like, yeah, they're amazing, right? They're so good and they're powerful. And the way you use them affects your brain. Like it's chemicals. Okay. It's chemistry. The way
Yeah,
aromatherapy works is you inhale essential oils and they affect your brain chemistry. They make actual changes to your brain. And that's amazing to me.
that is amazing. You emphasize the fact that the practices that you practice aren't magic. They need to be practiced in order to be effective.
Yeah.
So, how much time do you spend on these practices daily, for instance?
Um, I wouldn't say that's like a specific amount of time every day. It's more integrated into my lifestyle. So like I'll use essential oils when I'm at work here and I'll recite affirmations as I'm going to bed or like as I wake up in the morning. Just like sprinkle throughout my day.
Can I
So,
just say,
yes, please.
just to, so, a lot of these techniques and skills became really relevant following Jen's stroke and her process of recovery. And she, basically the way that she stays positive, the way that she organizes her time, the way that she sees her recovery, which is very, very tedious, hard work.
Mhm.
And there are days where she might not see any sign that her work is
Paying off.
paying off. But during the earlier part of Jen's recovery, where she was, she was paralyzed on her right side, she lost her cognition. She had been a motivational speaker and she lost her ability to speak. She had to relearn how to speak. And
Which was crazy. That's a crazy story, right?
Yeah, it is.
Tragic.
yes,
I mean, to be a motivational speaker and then to have the stroke of my left frontal lobe, which is where you process information, it's really fucked up.
It's so amazing how much you have recovered.
right.
Really?
You've worked very hard at it.
But I just want to say this and then I'll quiet myself. But Jen would ask me when, like the first year out, and I spent a lot of time at home with her, she asked me to do a visualization. And so I recorded a visualization for her. And she told me what she wanted in it, but it was a young woman, Jen, walking without braces, without a walker, without a wheelchair, walking through like a garden, in a white dress, and the sun was caressing her head and her hair was flowing, and she was holding flowers because Jen loves flowers. And it was basically, so I recorded this, and every morning she got up and she would put the recording on and listen to it.
Yes.
And over time, she said, "You need to change this up. You have me wearing no shoes, so I'd have to put shoes on, and oh, what kind of shoes do you want me to put on you?" But it was like it was a very visual connection that she had. And we have a sign in our kitchen, which actually my other daughter put up, but it's what you pay attention to grows.
Absolutely.
And so a lot of those types of things were practices that Jen had before her stroke,
Yeah.
and that she employed over the last few years to
Make as much of a healing as I have.
right. And
Right.
to stay positive and to get up every morning
Yeah.
and to be able to say, okay, yeah, I still have no peripheral vision. I still can't walk without a walker. And yet, I'm going to use this day
Yeah.
to see what I could do
Yeah.
to get myself better. So
You
anyway,
heard from Jen's mother, who has probably been very, very instrumental in her recovery, not to mention the fact that she's alive.
yeah.
Thank you.
So you've been describing, and I'm sorry I didn't catch your name, Mom.
Oh, Karen.
Karen. You've been describing a routine that has brought Jennifer this far in her recovery, and that you, Jennifer, continue to practice in order to further your recovery. You mentioned how important or how powerful presence is. Can you define what you mean by presence?
It's being here now. In every moment, you have a choice. You can either be present or you can be present and in the moment, or you can turn away from it. And every time you have the choice, then you choose to be present, that's it. Like that means, okay.
I think also, that term before Jen's stroke, I knew what presence was. Okay. But I never really found it to be sort of relevant in my life. Okay. Because I'm always planning and ruminating about what will be to come. And um, for me, we both ended up using the skill of being present in different ways for
Yeah.
different reasons. For me, what happened was immediately after Jen's bleed, the neurosurgeon thought that he was not going to be able to save her life. And there was a really difficult period where he ultimately, we needed to get the blood out of her brain so that they could do what they needed to do to preserve her life.
Mhm.
And it was really touch and go for 3 weeks. And she was in the surgical ICU.
And
And
I have no recollection of any of this. I was completely unconscious,
right.
obviously.
And so the ICU team would basically remind me at every moment that Jen was critically critical. Okay. And I would think about that, like, what does that mean? Okay. I mean, you're critical. I get that. But it was almost as if they were trying to prepare me for her demise. Okay. But the point is that in that moment, she was alive.
Yes.
And they didn't know that she was going to die. It's not like she was suffering, God forbid, from some kind of end stage renal failure or cancer where we know that there's, that was not the case. The case was the jury was still out. And so for me, it was like, stop that. It was almost like they were sort of forcing me to deal with something and I wasn't there.
It
And they
wasn't happening yet. Right.
and that it might not happen. And
Yeah.
so for me, it was sort of like I created this wall around myself of presence, okay? And so at that time, instead of focusing on potential funeral arrangements or what have you, I was present with Jen. I would hold her hand.
Mhm.
I could sing to her. I could kiss her. I could sniff the top of her head. And so that whole idea of being present and sort of, this is where I am. Don't push me. And throughout her entire recovery, especially in the hospital, because there was so much uncertainty, like, would she live? And then if she lives, what will she be like? Because the bleed was so profound. And, it was sort of like, am I going to sit here and worry if her cognition's going to return? No, I'm going to be where I am and where I need to get to. And when I need to get there, I will. But
Mhm.
so for me, presence was
A
no,
lifeline.
it was, yes, it was. And so that's for me what it meant.
Yeah.
But for Jen,
It means choosing your narrative, like not letting people take the pen out of your hands and creating a story that's on your own terms.
Yes.
And yeah, that's what it is for me. Like I really believe that you have the power in any given moment to choose how you perceive a situation, and the power is always in your hands.
I loved that when you said that in the article, that as long as the pen is in my hand, I'm writing my own story.
Yes, exactly.
Let someone else write my story for me.
No.
and the thing is that mindset is really important for anyone
Yes.
who is recovering from something, for someone where the future is uncertain,
Mhm.
and there's fear or there's a sense of hopelessness, or there's,
It's just the truth of life in general. It's
Right.
like that is the truth. That is the truth.
Because none of us know what our future holds.
Nope. And if you're going to be in the moment, then that's an opportunity for you to just write the script now. And
Yes.
every now is a new opportunity to do that. Every moment you breathe is like an opportunity for you to like be aware of yourself and your thoughts and how they're shaping reality.
I love that, Jennifer, and I'm really amazed that you are so aware of and practicing that truth at your young age. Would you say that you began to learn those principles before the stroke or as a result of the stroke?
I learned them way before. I
Okay.
learned them. Okay, I got sent away when I was a kid to a boarding school, and it was therapeutic. And so that started my journey of self-awareness and
Oh,
discovery. And that happened like when I was in high school. I got pulled out of bed in the middle of the night. It was a really crazy story.
mhm.
And I had like an intervention where I was pulled out of bed and I was brought to the wilderness.
Slow down a bit.
Okay.
So just so part of Jen's recovery, she wasn't able to speak for a while. And part of the issue with learning how to speak, when we speak, you need working memory, which is really what keeps you focused on where you are, but at the same time, where you're going. Okay.
Okay.
And, right. And so, like, you need to know, I'm talking to you now, but I know where I'm trying to head in my story.
Right.
And a lot of Jen's working memory was washed away. And so, for the longest time, she could not communicate the way she's always been able to communicate. She couldn't tell a story.
Right.
She'd get lost. And
You
it
just
meant,
made me lost my story right now.
wait, I lost,
Yeah, you made me lost in my story right now.
oh, okay, we're coming back. And so, so basically, her speaking, she had to relearn, she had to work on working memory, and there's exercises that you do for that. You can relearn all of that. It's a lot of hard work. Um, and also Jen would accelerate her speaking, which is part of
Yes,
also,
I still do. I'm sure you've noticed that.
right, which is why because when you become excited
Yeah.
in a conversation, Jen sometimes will accelerate the way and I mean, it's really pretty amazing because, well, I should just tell this quick story about and then I'll let you guys press on.
You said
Sorry.
that you're going to do that already.
Um, so what happened was, so initially Jen was not really able to communicate, and she decided she was going to join a group, it's an international group.
It's called Toastmasters. Have you ever heard of it?
It's called Toastmasters. It's an
Okay.
international
Yes.
group, a speaking group, and there's chapters all over. And so and the idea of Toastmasters is you learn to speak publicly.
Yes.
People
Which is what I was doing before I had my stroke, by the way.
but
Okay.
so she decides that she's going to join, but she's not going to tell them that she had a stroke.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I want to see if they could tell.
Okay. And so basically, she joined this group, and it's sort of like a zany kind of group. I because there's like the Toastmaster, there's the grammarian,
I'm
there's
very familiar with Toastmasters.
oh, okay. So in any event, so finally after a couple of months, she basically decided it was her turn to speak, and she did this presentation of and she started off and it was like the culmination of all of this work. And now she's sort of exposing herself, putting herself out there in front of these people. And she starts off and she said, my life is divided between the moments before August 9/15 on August 18th, 2021, and those that followed. Because at that time, I had a bleed in my brain that almost killed me. And she then goes on and does this talk. And
Yes.
it's just extraordinary.
It is extraordinary. It took so much courage,
Thank you.
so much
was-
courage.
It was
Thank you.
crazy.
Well, I'm so impressed that you stepped back into Toastmasters,
Thank you.
exposed your vulnerability to a group of very professional people.
Thank you.
So you mentioned in the article that you and your mother wrote a book titled In the Face of Catastrophe.
About this whole experience,
Pardon?
about my stroke.
Yes. I figured that must be the catastrophe you were talking
Yeah.
about.
Yes.
Yes.
I love your saying that everything happens to me in divine timing. How did you come to that belief, and how do you hang on to that belief rather than being impatient?
I'm a very impatient person in general, but
Okay.
I try to embrace that philosophy. I don't always do it, but I try to.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
You also said that things don't happen to me. That makes
Happen for
a
It
victim,
happened for me.
but it happens for my good.
Yes.
I love that. I love that philosophy. I believe that's a divine philosophy.
Thank you.
And you named the power of attraction that says whatever we put our attention on grows, as you mentioned, or your mother mentioned a few minutes ago. So, where do you put your primary attention day to day?
It's very difficult for me to be positive, but I try and be positive to the best of my ability. I try and be present and in the moment and not get ahead of myself and wonder like what ifs. And it's very difficult for me to do that, but like I try my best and I try to do that. And yeah, that's what I do.
It's like you have gained mastery over your thoughts
Yes.
by insisting that they remain positive
Yes.
rather than sliding into the what if this happens, what if that happens, or how long is this going to take?
Like, okay, it's a good point you make. So I'm not a victim to even my thoughts. I don't let myself be carried by my thoughts. It's
Mhm.
not possible. I have to be very disciplined and just have control over them. That's the only way I'm gonna get out of this. It's not getting out of it, it's getting through it.
Yes. I have so much admiration for you, Jennifer, and for your mother, Karen. You're quite a team. Hope all, I hope all the viewers of this interview also read your article in Authority Magazine. And when I put this video on YouTube, I will also put the link to your written article.
Okay, perfect.
And there's also a link in the article, viewers, where you can sign up for Jennifer's newsletter. How else can folks follow you or find you?
On all social media channels at Jennifer Rose Goldman and in the FacesCatastrophe.com, our website.
yes.
Okay. I feel so honored to have met you here on Zoom, and I wish you the very best as your recovery continues and you spread your beautiful influence out into the world to inspire others.
So much.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, Nancy. Thank you for the conversation.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.